Yeah, it's been a long time coming, but revisiting Letterkenny Season 5 is finally here and I'm super hyped to talk about Episode 1. But before that, let's briefly cover some big things that happened in Season 4 that might actually come to influence what happens in Season 5. The first thing is the introduction of Ron and Dax and their befriending of Riley and Jonesy. The second thing is the revealing of Wayne's current relationship status, that being his long-distance relationship attempt with Rosie. And lastly, the season finale's hard hitter, Wayne hooking up with Tannis during the welcome home party for the Bay brothers. Now that we have the basics out of the way, let's jump on into episode 1 of season 5.
Tannis, the
tough gal.
Homewrecker.
Rocket. Sniper.
Alpha female.
Temptress.
A bit rough around the edges.
tried to lure you into the barn for a
Round of the bases.
Homewrecking.
Slam. Crash.
Roll in the hay.
Lay in the biblical sense.
Toe curl.
and the truth is, you kind of wanted to.
Pat heavily.
Wreck your home.
Rack up a kill. Score a takedown.
Have the best sex of your life.
Fondle.
Become one.
But you didn't. Because that's not what a
Good old boy.
Real man.
Straight shooter. Team player.
Seriously?
God-fearing gentleman.
Stand-up guy.
does.
Turns out Wayne and Tannis actually didn't hook up. Rather than going to the shed and be with Tannis, he instead goes over to Rosie's place. But we get thrown a little curveball.
I'm going to move to the city.
You're gonna move to the city.
I'm going to move to the city.
With Rosie moving away to Vancouver, this does allow Wayne to finally give him and Tannis a real shot. Something I think we've all been curious to seeing how that would play out. But how do all the other characters feel about that?
Get after it.
Sure.
Killzone. Pound Town.
We should be banging right now.
Tannis.
You could do much worse, good buddy.
You and Tannis are gonna give her the old college try.
Good enough.
Good enough.
Good enough.
Good enough.
Good enough.
Good enough.
Good stuff.
And non-summer weddings. I'm smiling.
We learn the Hicks are invited to Ron and Dax's wedding, and they actually seem to be looking forward to going. They even go as far as talking about what they're going to wear. There is a key issue brought up by Katie that will definitely impact this episode, and that's who will actually be attending Ron and Dax's wedding. The issue is that Ron is from the city, which means a good bit of city people will be coming to Letterkenny for the wedding. As you might have expected, the Hicks aren't fond of what they call cityites. Wayne does make one thing very clear, which also just happens to be the title of the episode.
We do not fight at weddings.
Although the wedding attendees aren't in their favor, they do find an upside to it all.
But you can't get laid if you're keen to. Sexy just wafts around at weddings. Plenty of opportunities for people looking to do some yesing.
A little bit of wedding spreading.
A little bit of matrimonies and hide the balonies.
Well, sure, maybe some exchanging of rings and rubbing of things.
Clear eyes, full Windsors.
Can't lose.
The Hicks and Tannis all show up to the wedding reception and they all look pretty damn good. Overall, everything seems to be going pretty well. As far as dates go, Wayne and Tannis seem to be doing just fine, and the rest of the gang just seems to be happy to be here. After Ron and Dax greets the Hicks and Tannis, they go with Katie to get some cocktails. As soon as they take their leave, we meet our cityites.
You ride your fucking sleds here?
Oh, were you fucking matting her?
You see a cherry ride? Like, holy fuck. Just about clear put on the fucking rhubarb?
You was just gonna stand there rubbing your peckers or what?
Oh, she's fucking tits, eh? Did you give her beans, bud?
Did you give her boots, bud?
Did you give her fucking torch? Wanna get fucking smoked?
Or you taking her easy?
She's easy. Take her twice, bud. We'll call you Tony 2 times.
Let's do her manure.
Isn't this the part where you...
We don't fight at weddings.
And thank God we see Bonnie again. It's been a while. She doesn't have many lines, but damn, for some reason just seeing her around makes everything feel so refreshing. But as Katie and Bonnie are catching up and drinking their cocktails, the cityites pop up to make their move. They end up trying to get Bonnie and Katie to hook up with them in the back of one of the guys' BMW X3s, where they both are clearly not impressed. By the way, Bonnie is not the only familiar face the Hicks have at the wedding. We also got Stewart and Roll DJing the wedding, and even Mr. McMurray makes an appearance. We finally run into Riley and Jonesy, who are congratulating Ron and Dax on their marriage, and I couldn't stop myself from smiling ear to ear the whole time. While the four of them are talking, Ron and Dax mentioned to them that though there are a lot of potential hookups out there for them, none of the city girls are likely to go for guys like them. They go on to say that city girls aren't into hockey players and other muscly types, and if they want to shop with city girls, they'll need to change their look and be softer. Going back to the main group, we see the Sidiots come back for another round of their troll session, then once again tries to flirt with Bonnie, Katie, and now Tanis. Alright, I will say I'm very impressed with Wayne's patience throughout this whole experience, though I'm pretty sure if he knew that they were harassing his sister and now his date Tanis, all bets would be off. But all this does help lead up to a possible confrontation, so now we're all just playing the waiting game. As Tanis goes off to get some rye whiskey, Katie and Bonnie rejoin the rest of the Hicks. And just like clockwork, the Sidiots come back around, but once they leave, Katie reminds the now equally irritated group of Hicks that they don't fight at weddings. However, Wayne emphasizes one thing.
Right. We don't fight at weddings. M4?
Over now.
We also get a quick update with Riley and Jonesy, and it turns out Ron and Dax were wrong about what city girls want nowadays. They actually are into manly men. You know, the ones that can fix cars and shit. However, when Riley and Jonesy mention that they were athletes, more specifically hockey players, they tell them,
even if you were hockey players, we're not puck bunnies. We're the prostitutes.
I don't even drink. I drink beer. Why?
Where are you guys staying tonight?
and now it's time for the Hicks to make their move. Katie and Bonnie begin to flirt with the Sidiots while Stuart announces the groom's dance to a song I thought I'd never hear in Letterkenny. Fuck the Pain Away by Peaches. I'll try to be sparing with not showing this full scene for copyright reasons, but really, how much self-control do I actually have? This whole scene was amazing. When I first watched this plan unravel, I was cheering so loudly, especially since the Hicks stuck to their own rules. They don't fight at weddings. No one ever said anything about leaving said wedding to settle scores.
Sucking on my titties like you wanted me, calling me all the time like Blondie. Check out my Chrissy behind, it's fine all of the time.
Can I also mention how proud Tanis looks at Wayne while he takes off his tie and walks towards the Sidiots? She has that reassured look like she's saying in her head, yeah, now that's the man I'm on a date with.
Fuck the pain away, fuck the pain away, fuck the pain away, fuck the pain away. Oh, what right on. Oh, what right on. What else is in the teachers of peaches and sex on the beaches? What right on.
The Hicks make it back just in time for the groom's dance to end, and now everyone is finding their own dance partner.
He's looking for trouble?
You was looking for trouble? You was looking for trouble?
So what if we are? We don't fight at weddings.
Wouldn't dream of it, bud.
And fuck the pain away, 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 fuck the pain away.
This might honestly be my favorite season premiere we've had thus far. Katie, Dan, and Daryl are all sitting around the table playing cribbage until Wayne makes his entrance. He buttons the top button of his shirt, which can only mean that a special occasion is upon us. It turns out he has a date with Tanis. Though it's clear that they all like Tanis, they do bring up a noticeable characteristic about her, and that's that Tanis is, as Katie puts it, rough around the edges. Being honest, I didn't think Wayne going on a date with Tanis would have been a big deal. Apart from her trying to hook up with Wayne while him and Rosie were trying out their long distance relationship, Tannis seemed to fit well with Wayne. She's clearly smart and has a good head on her shoulders, and she's also isn't afraid to get her hands dirty, which to me that would check off all of Wayne's boxes. But we'll soon see how all this goes.
Down. Time to show the boys some gains.
Coach is gonna flip when he sees these gains. Gain Gretzky, gain the Rock Johnson,
Shania gain.
gains trains and automobiles for da.
Let's show these boys the legends walk amongst them.
Hashtag Legend Life.
Riley and Jonesy are at the hockey arena to show off their new gains, but the coach rains on the parade by telling them that the team folded due to there not being enough bodies. But why?
Cause it's senior A whale shit hockey!
The coach ends up giving them 3 options. 1. They could play in the next town over, which would mean they'd be playing for another team. 2. They could retire. Or 3. They could be assistant coaches for the coach's other team he has. The last option is interesting since it would allow Riley and Josie to stay in Letterkenny and not have to start over fresh or quit hockey altogether. But I never actually pictured them working alongside the coach. So this is definitely going to be an interesting season if this is the option they decide to go with. Option 3 gets even more attractive once they learn that the team that they're recoaching has already won back-to-back championships. But there is one tiny detail that the coach left out. But we'll get to that in a little bit.
Tannis, how are you now?
What?
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 The actual fuck was that?
Wayne goes to visit Tannis at her house and we see a rather uncomfortable side of him. We get a more defined look at what Katie might have meant earlier when she said that Tannis was rough around the edges. In this instance, Wayne has a clear problem with her spitting in front of him. When I first watched this, I honestly thought that I'd missed something, but yeah. I did find it interesting that knowing Tannis for this long, Wayne didn't pick up on the type of girl that she was until now. But anyway, the scene ends with Tannis inviting Wade inside for dinner after telling him that she had cooked, where he admittedly states that he might have lost his appetite. All in all, I guess I could say that this date isn't going very well, and this relationship is most likely doomed to fail.
He was supposed to be here over an hour ago. Try him again.
Stuart, I just tried him.
And?
Straight to voicemail.
Over at the Skizzes, we see Stuart and the gang pacing around and waiting for someone to arrive. Turns out they're waiting for a guy named Ezret, who has access to the dark web. Ezret keeps a tab open so they can browse until they get a call from someone who goes by the online name of Hard Right J. Stuart initially wants to ignore the call, but Rold encourages him to pick it up so they can start meeting new friends from the dark web. Oh god.
What are you doing?
Back with Wayne and Tannis, we run into another hiccup where they both bump heads on how Wayne is untying his boots, cross-legged rather than bent over. This then leads to a little bit of annoying gay stereotypes thrown around until Tannis says,
Let's just stop talking. Food's ready. Come eat.
this date is going horribly, and now I'm just wishing that it would end. This does go to show that maybe some people are just better off as friends.
What's on the dark web menu today, gentlemen?
And here we're introduced to possibly one of the most problematic characters in the Letterkenny universe. One I did not like at all. I'm not even going to lie to you guys, I was debating skipping this episode and all of the next episode because this guy's character infuriates me, but instead I'm going to try to zoom through this as quickly as possible. We meet Harright J, who is talking to the Skids and Everett about cannibalism and the conspiracy theories revolving around it. After going on for about an hour, Stuart finally loses his patience and tells him that the only reason why they joined the dark web in the first place is to see new things and to meet new people. They didn't care about his conspiracy theories, and thank God. The scene ends with Harright J trying to convince the Skids to join the Hard Right if they really want to meet the coolest people like they say they do. Moving away from one awkward situation to another, we're back with Tannis and Wayne, who are finally eating until...
What?
What?
The actual fuck was that now?
What now?
Well, you're sitting, eating, and breathing, so the other thing.
I'm gonna be real with y'all, I'm not liking the side of Wayne. As long as we've known Tannis, we all knew the type of girl she was. She had never been this feathery, floaty, girly girl, or even someone who was polite. Maybe this is the writer's way of showing us that Wayne's type is nowhere close to what Tannis can offer, and that Rosie is his endgame. If that's the reason for all of this, then fine, but I'm surprised with how they're making this whole realization go down. This is probably one of those things that I would have changed in this season. Instead of trying to show that Tannis is not right for Wayne by basically showing that Wayne perceives her as gross, it probably would have been better to show their detachment from one another on an emotional level. Maybe like instead show them only having a physical attraction to one another while emotionally they're not compatible. But of course, that's just me. Moving on. Before the coach introduces Riley and Jonesy to the new team that they'll be coaching, a little warning is given. Turns out they not only have an attitude problem, but they also have leadership issues, where they can't decide who will be captain. Excited to meet their new team, Riley and Jonesy both storm into the locker room and find a little surprise.
What are you two doing?
Sorry, boys. Ladies.
We didn't know you were ladies, boys. Not lady boys. We didn't know you were ladies.
You think the door is open to everyone here? Just because Marianne looks like she's homeless doesn't mean you can treat it like a shelter.
Fuck you, Betty Ann. But she's right. Doors isn't open to everybody here. Just because her mitt looks like the back of Christ's head doesn't mean you can treat it like a church.
Fuck you, Marianne. Your mitt looks like Babe Ruth's ball glove from the dirty 30s if 20 more dudes spat chewing tobacco in it.
Your mitt's actually a work of art, Betty Ann. Like Salvador Dali's melting clocks. But instead of melting clocks, it's melting salad bowls of off-pink ice cream.
The introduction of Betty Ann and Marianne really saved this episode for me. Also, their chirping is top tier. And Riley and Josie's reaction at the end is hilarious.
Meet your new team, pheasants.
I'm just gonna let this scene play out.
You see the elephant?
You mean next to the bus crash?
That's the one.
Yeah, I see it.
You want to talk about it?
Let's talk about it.
A woman can be what she wants.
That is so nice of you to allow that.
Not what I meant.
I'm kidding.
A woman should be what she wants.
Better.
There's no definition of a woman.
But a woman should be with a man she finds desirable.
And vice versa.
Like long term, like in a relationship.
Can confirm.
I don't think you're it, cowboy.
Oh, you think?
I know.
Good enough.
Good stuff.
This was exactly what I was looking for. Two adults just telling it like it is and just saying that this wasn't the relationship that they wanted to be in. The following day, Wayne makes it back to the farm and Katie, Dan, and Derry are all playing cribbage again. He's honest and says that the day went poorly. Except for the end, of course.
Just kidding.
Episode 3 is underway and...
Damn shame about Modine's 2 burning down.
Giving it the same fate as the original Modine's. Luckily, this doesn't put everyone who worked there out of a job. Like Bonnie, for example, who now works at the Ukrainian Center known for having the cheapest beer in Letterkenny. As for Gail, it turns out that she took Modine 2's tragedy and turned it into an opportunity by going to a South American singles retreat. So after the information dump, we dive into the episode where we see an SUV driving in the snow. That's giving us a very clear hint of who we might be getting introduced to. That being Hard Right J. Looks like we get to see this guy in the flesh. Back with the Hicks, we learn that the Letterkenny Chiefs are changing their name, and they're letting the public decide via online polling what it's going to be. But the internet being the internet, this allows for very interesting polling results. Here are some of the frontrunners.
Currently, the Letterkenny Rough Riders is leading by a hair. Second place is the Letterkenny Muff Riders.
Yeah, I can get behind Muff Riders.
What else?
Third place goes to the Letterkenny Footfuckers.
What else?
Our fourth place is a tie between the big Nickelbacks and the 69ers.
Both good choices.
I don't know who to root for.
He likes to root for a 69er.
At the Skids' basement, we see Stuart's growing obsession with the dark web. As soon as he starts browsing, the Skids get a visit from Hard Right J. So it turns out he got word of Letterkenny changing their junior soccer team's name from Letterkenny Chiefs, and he's looking to stop it.
Now we're talking the alphas. Real men. No matriarchy in sight.
Who the fuck are you?
Hard Right J and the Skids show up to the Ukrainian center where Jay is in search for some manly men that will join him. As we all probably could have guessed, they don't appear to be even the least bit interested. So after the Skids take their leave, Hard Right J tries to get the Hicks to join his protest against the name change, where still none of them seem to care. They even end up telling him straight up that this isn't important to them. So anyway, Wayne gives Hard Right J an interesting proposition.
Tell you what, I'll fight you for it. You and me.
Sorry, what?
What I'm saying is,
I'll fight you. And if you win, I'll come to the field with you. But if you lose, well, we're not asking for anything in return.
You SJWs are a lost cause. I'm going to troll! Letterkenny Chiefs! Letterkenny Chiefs!
After Hard Right J takes his leave from the Hicks, we see that he made his way to Riley and Jonesy over at the hockey arena. He tries to get them to see how bad the name change is by comparing it to the Letterkenny Shamrocks. While Riley and Jonesy take a moment to think over what Jay is telling them, it does give Riley the chance to admit that he's not personally a fan of the Shamrocks name either. Jonesy also agrees. And then...
What's this about a name change? If anybody should change their names, it should be us. What the hell's a shamrockette anyway, a leaf with tits?
Oh, this isn't your matriarch, is it?
That's good, Marianne. Impressive creativity.
Couple of hens clucking away.
Especially for a girl who had to start kindergarten 2 years late because she couldn't grasp coloring.
Gotta love Betty Ann and Marianne.
We were just starting to get them under control.
You're screwing it up, bro. You're getting them all fired up again.
Bringing family into it now, Marianne, I would never stoop so low. Especially with the recent passing of your mother, who told me before she died that my dad is your dad, too.
You're fucking up our progress, man. Just get out of here.
It's only gonna get worse, too. Thanks a lot.
These tumblerinas have lost the plot anyway. Letterkenny Chiefs! Letterkenny Chiefs!
Hard Right J and his buddies show up to the protest spot all uniformed up and confused on why people didn't show up. Let's see what happens next.
Oh, yeah. Whose idea was this stupid name change anyway?
Ours. What's up, Nazis?
Nazi? Hilarious.
Ain't nothing funny about this, honky.
No, but Nazi? Really? Nazi? Would a Nazi ride a Yamaha scooter?
A pansy Nazi? Sure.
Would a Nazi have a Jew for a lawyer?
Could you refer me, asshole? Because I'm gonna need one in a minute.
Would a Nazi own a game-worn Tim Duncan jersey?
You sniff that shit before bed at night, Cupcake?
I don't know why this totally slipped my mind, but it's fitting that Tennis was behind the whole name change thing. And it's only fitting that she's there to defend it.
I think you should join us.
Is that what we should do?
Yes! Think about it, Sacagawea.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we didn't come here to counter-protest. Ain't nothing peaceful gonna happen today.
Hey, we don't practice violence.
We do.
We don't practice violence, but we are prepared for it.
All right, let's go then. Let's do this.
You in what army?
That one.
This is the only part of the episode that I was actually patiently waiting for. I don't even have anything to say here. I'm just relieved this whole sequence is happening. After the scrap, the Hicks and Tanis stop by the Ukrainian Center for some beers where Dan is reading the local paper again. He tells everyone that the online poll was cancelled so the team named Muff Riders would win. In the end, it was decided that the soccer team would be named Letterkenny Rough Riders.
See, Wayne? People love to cheer for a Rough Rider.
The world's going to hell in a handbasket, big brother.
In a what, Derry?
Prefix back set.
Attaboy.
Wayne, Daryl, and Dan are playing cribbage until Daryl notices Katie's absence and asks where she's been all day.
Yeah, you're fucking mine.
What are you, sleepwalking, Daryl?
In the words of legendary Canadian singer-songwriter Alanis Morissette, you ought to know.
In the words of legendary Canadian songwriter Greg Keeler of Blue Rodeo, hasn't hit me yet.
In the words of Jim Cuddy, also of iconic Canadian rock bands Blue Rodeo, try.
Okay, anyway, the reason why she's gone is because she's preparing for Letterkenny's adult spelling bee. We learned that Katie had been the spelling bee champion for the past 9 years until Stuart ended up beating her last year. So to help Katie win this year, Wayne, Derry, and Dan all make a pact to devote their time to make sure Katie is well prepared to defeat Stuart. Riley and Josie attempt to address the Shamrockettes, but...
Okay, girls.
Girls?
That's what I said.
Who you calling girls?
No, we mean women.
It's completely inappropriate.
Okay.
Marianne over there is not a girl. When's the last time you saw a girl's tits sag so low she could tuck them into her joggers?
You're right, Betty Ann. To call us girls is wildly inappropriate. Look at you. When's the last time you saw a girl with enough pubic hair to lose her keys in, along with the Boink Canadian Tire keychain?
Okay. That's enough. Ladies.
Yes, ladies.
Tell me how Marianne's a lady. Her Jill strap's got more skid marks than a runaway truck lane on a coastal mountain highway.
Yes, I'm afraid you guys missed the mark again. Betty Ann's no lady. She picks and flicks more boogers than a restless Dutch 8-year-old with Asperger's.
Riley, Jonesy, get out here.
Okay.
The coach calls Riley and Jonesy out to see if they've been preparing for the spelling bee, where they say that they're trying their best and that they're more math guys than they are spellers. This year, however, Coach is expecting a different outcome, since he has money on the line and he has done some tinkering behind the scenes. Katie is finally seen coming downstairs for the first time, and Wayne, Derry, and Dan all seem to be pretty noticeably out of character. Each of them is doing something that is known to be natural brain stimulants like Sudoku, lifting weights, and even playing guitar. Wayne admits that this whole ploy is to keep Katie in tip-top shape and ready to take home the spelling bee this year, so he doesn't have to see her heartbroken like she was last year. We see Stuart giving himself a pep talk in the mirror before he leaves for the spelling bee. We also see how turned on some of the Letterkenny girls are over Stuart's spelling abilities and possibility of being a back-to-back spelling bee champ. Over at the farm, Katie is getting a quick rundown from the Hicks about her competition, where we actually learn some of the interesting facts about each of the competitors.
Break it down for me.
Stuart's your biggest threat, that we know. We've got intel that he's been trained with some dark web spellers. I can tell you what words they've been using to spell with, but I don't think you want to know.
I don't. Next.
Joint Boy's actually a pretty good speller when he's stoned, so keep your eyes open, because his are going to be damn near sealed shut.
Always. Next.
Riley and Jonesy can't spell for shit. They're fucking idiots.
Okay.
But McMurray's been known for spelling dirty. I need you to watch your back.
McMurray's a piece of shit.
Tanis, Tyson, and the coach are on the skybox overlooking the spelling bee, where they begin making their bets. Tanis puts $200 on Katie, the coach puts $200 on Riley and Jonesy, and Tyson puts $200 on Joint Boy. Whoever wins is $400 richer. After Jim Dickens greets everyone and excuses Joint Boy to go to the bathroom, he calls up Katie to spell her first word.
So sit down, shut up, and enjoy some fucking adult spelling!
Katie, your word is farceur. Farceur.
Farcer. F-A-R-C-E-U-R. Farcer.
Correct.
They should be able to clap if she get one right squarely down.
Okay, I am sorry for my outburst earlier. I came at you with a lot of anger and that was unnecessary. You can cheer if someone gets a word right, but it starts and ends there. Jim, you want to repeat the last thing you said there?
Correct.
a little montage of the spelling bee.
Stuart, your word is disparate. Disparate.
Disparate. D-I-S-P-A-R-A-T-E. Disparate.
Correct.
Spell my name, Stuart. Spell it. What else can you do at that time?
Riley, Jonesy, your word is hockey. There seems okay.
Hockey.
Y.
Are you finished?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots.
Thanks. Joint boy, your word is ensconce. Ensconce.
Got a fuckload of joints ensconced in this fanny pack.
Ensconce. E-N-S-C-O-N-C-E. Ensconce.
Correct.
Yes!
Once an intermission is called, Dan and Derry approach Jim Dickens to see if he's noticed how easily Riley and Josie's words are, and how they are all conveniently hockey related. Tennis also brings to Jim's attention of the way McMurray is mumbling when he's spelling his words, so Jim can't tell whether or not he's spelling the words correctly. As it's time for everyone to make their way back to the stage, we see Joint Boy freaking out since they ran off joints, and he's only a good speller when he's high.
There will be no more intermissions, and there better not be any degenerate gambling.
As the spelling bee continues, Joint Boy is the first to get knocked out after misspelling dithyramb, forgetting that there's a silent B at the end.
There's a silent B, dumbass!
Fucking idiot.
Fuck!
Next up is Riley and Jonesy, who misspelled the word Bosky, where they spelled it with an I instead of a Y.
Incorrect.
Fucking embarrassing!
After the decks are shuffled, Mr. McMurray's word is penalty, where he tries his mumbling technique. Mr. McMurray's disputes saying that he's spelling the word correctly, but this time, Tennis is prepared.
No, it isn't.
You ever see that movie Dick Tracy? The one with Warren Beatty?
I would smash that dude like a neighbor's pumpkin on Devil's Night.
Same. This is Mr. McMurray's answer at normal speed.
See?
Now this is his answer slowed down.
P-E-N-A-L-D-Y. Which?
This eliminates McMurray. The last two left on stage are Katie and Stewart, where the word is triskaidekaphobia, but something interesting happens. The word was spelled incorrectly on the monitor and Jim Dickens' card. Not knowing this yet, Stewart somehow spells it correctly, quote unquote, as displayed on the monitor and is declared the winner. However, Tennis saves the day once again and looks up the word to confirm the correct spelling. Stewart claims that he did spell it the way that she says, but leave it to Tennis's trusty tape recorder to set the record straight.
Triskadekapobia.
This can now only mean one thing.
Silent I win!
But wait, there's more. Before the episode ends, Riley receives a text from the coach about why there's a bad blood between Betty and Marianne.
Buddy. Dear Pheasants, figured out why the girls hate each other. They're in love with the same man, fucking embracing. Figure it out. Who could it be?
Give your balls a tug, you tit fucker.
Riley and Jonesy go to talk with the Letterkenny Shamrockettes, more specifically to Marianne and Betty Ann, to see if there's any way that they can both see eye to eye and stop fighting. After it's clear that neither of them intends to back down, Riley and Jonesy decide that the best thing to do now is to go to the source of the problem, Shorzy himself. While speaking with Shorzy, it's also clear that he has no intentions in stepping in and trying to resolve Marianne and Betty Ann's issues.
Where is he? He was supposed to be here an hour ago!
Everyone stay composed.
I'm going to sever Everett's phalanges one by one and force feed them to him fondue style.
Your terms are not acceptable, Rold.
I'm going to rip off his ears and use them to tickle his taint.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
At the Skids' basement, we can hear Stuart vocally expressing his anger towards Everett upstairs. Rold then calls Stuart downstairs, and the moment he sees Everett, he demands access to the dark web, clearly still addicted. Glenn shows up and is then revealed that this is an intervention for Stuart's newfound addiction, which makes him even angrier, until...
Stuart? Unhand Roldy.
the return of Gay.
Come. Sit. Stay.
Oh, I like you.
Though it's been a while since we and even Stuart has seen Gay, it's clear that she still has the same impact as she did back then. But that's not the only person who came to Stuart's rescue.
You're going to rehab.
No!
Yes.
No!
Yes.
No!
Yes.
Riley and Josie return to the locker room to tell Betty and Marianne that they spoke with Shorzy, but they didn't tell the actual truth with how the chat went down. Instead, they tell him that Shorzy said this.
He said you suck at hockey.
Huh? Yeah, he said you should stick to ringette.
Huh?
Yeah, he said that you should never, ever let a woman do a man's job.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was standing there like, what is this guy saying?
Marianne?
Betty Ann.
What rhymes with hip, lip, and dip?
Ship.
What rhymes with coat, note, and tote?
Boat.
Why don't you say you, me, and the girls put another one on the water?
Back to back to back!
Though this does actually give them the motivation to prove Shorzy's statement wrong, it was definitely a bold and creative lie that I thought I'd never see Riley and Josie tell to ensure victory. It's game time for the Shamrockettes, and while it cuts from the normal training routine back to the multiple matches, we see them slowly rising in the ranks to take the #1 slot. Though Riley and Josie lied, it did prove that the Shamrockettes wasn't washed up, and still knew how to work together. As the Hicks are packing up to go cheer on the Shamrockettes at their championship game, Katie mentions that she won't be attending so she can welcome Stuart back home from rehab, which is super sweet, by the way. It's good to know that she still thinks of Stuart as a close friend and wants to be there for him to cheer on his recovery.
Dwayne?
Daryl?
Cheryl? Dan?
The Hicks finally make it to the hockey arena, and we get an interesting scene where we meet each of their Donegal doppelgangers. After a quick chirping session, we see them shake hands and go their separate ways. The Shamrockettes seem to all be in high spirits, and even Marianne and Betty Ann are giving compliments to one another. So what could possibly go wrong? Well, they all go out of the rink, and who do they have as a linesman for the game? Good old Shorzy. I think we all know that shit was all going too well for Riley and Jonesy. Although Marianne and Betty Ann now know that Riley and Jonesy were lying, they don't seem to really mind due to Shorzy actually ending up insulting them anyway. This being the case, they proceed to set their sights on winning to spite him even more now.
Stuart's recovery has been remarkable. He is almost unrecognizable.
It's finally time to see how Stuart's recovery went, and we see his whole support system there waiting for him. Though everyone seems to be visually impressed by Stuart's transformation, it looks like we're going to have to wait for a little bit longer to see the big reveal.
Let's go Shamrockettes!
Let's go Shamrockettes!
The hockey game continues and neither team has scored a point. After a quick timeout, the game resumes with enough time for Betty Ann to score the game-winning goal. They have officially won the championship, and Marianne and Betty Ann both seem to be in high spirits as they both raise up the championship trophy. In the final scene, Riley and Jonesy are standing alone in the empty hockey arena, taking in their championship win. As they stand together in silence, both of them get a text from their mothers. I wonder what it says. Oh yeah. The final episode of season 5. Let's get to it.
Terry, have a shot?
I have a shot.
Have a shot?
I have a shot.
Mary, have a shot?
I have a shot.
Tyson, have a shot?
I have a shot.
JB, have a shot?
I have a shot.
Buck, boys. Let's have a shot.
The Hicks, Mr. McMurray, Joint Boy, and Tyson are all at the Ukrainian Center having a drink until Jean Guy gives Wayne a call. He ends up asking Wayne to bring him and his friends to Anik's Biche, aka Buck and Doe, which is basically just a little get-together to help raise money for the bride and groom's wedding. If you don't remember Anik, she's the girl Derry fell for when the Hicks went on their ice fishing trip back in season 3 episode 4. But anyway, the main reason why they're invited is so they can handle any unwanted degens that might find their way to the Biche. And of course, everyone is down for a quick trip to Quebec, even Riley and Jonesy. But they end up being stuck having to drive everyone because all the guys are drunk and Katie simply doesn't want to.
Whoopsie Goldberg.
Hey, come over here and shake my hand, good buddy.
Avez-vous écouté Lightfoot en chemin?
Oh, with Stompin' Tom, is that fella Cock Voisine still bumming around?
How's Jim Cutie and Michael Bublé?
About as good as Kim Mitchell there, Cockett Richard.
Que le bon Dieu bénisse Gord Downey. Long lives the hip.
Here we go now.
The Hicks make it to Quebec and meet up with their French buddies. We also get a visit from the bride-to-be. To say the least, Derry is still not over her. We also get to see Jean-Claude, Anik's soon-to-be husband, who says he and no one else in Quebec wanted a Biche. Jean-Guy explains to Wayne that he and Anik were raised in Hawkesbury where they grew to love this tradition. Anik goes on to say how Jean-Claude wouldn't let her invite any of her English friends to the wedding. So the compromise? They would go through with the Buck and Doe so the English people she wanted to see could at least attend that.
You just go grab us a pint. I'll get the tickets.
Everyone heads inside where Wayne takes it upon himself to get the tickets. The man in charge of handing out the tickets begins a conversation with Wayne and enjoys his company enough to ask Wayne if he's single. He ends up wanting to set Wayne up with his niece. At the end of the conversation, the man tells Wayne to go have some fun and he'll introduce her to him later on, where Wayne is surprisingly on board.
Santé! Santé!
Overall, everyone seems to be having a good time except Jean-Claude and Mr. McMurray. Fuck Jean-Claude, but I don't blame Mr. McMurray for his frustrations in the situation. He sees and understands that he and his group of friends aren't wanted here, and unlike the rest of the group, Mr. McMurray just isn't as patient as them. While the rest of the table is having a hilarious conversation and trying to decipher Jean-Carl's occupation at TD Bank, but all they're hearing is Titty Bank, Anik and Daryl are having a little side chat.
Titty Bank?
Oui, Titty Bank.
I'm not happy.
No? But it's your Biche.
I thought I was. Planning the wedding was a nightmare. And then I saw you.
All conversations are cut short once their table begins to shake, hinting that the degens from Laval have all arrived. Katie goes to get McMurray from the bathroom just in time for him to join the scrap. Throughout the fight, we see Anik eyeing Derry and also Jean-Claude noticing her attraction to him. Once the scrap is over, everyone goes back inside to have a drink and celebrate. Well, not everyone. Jean-Claude and Anik are shown arguing before we see him and Jean-Lance angrily leave the bar. Anik proceeds to take off her engagement ring and Derry notices and decides to go over and comfort her. After Anik professes her love for Derry, we get a ridiculously chill scene with everyone dancing to a song I actually added to my playlist since hearing it. I'll leave the song name spelled out here because I know I'm most likely going to butcher it and embarrass myself if I try and say it. So as everyone is dancing, we see Wayne standing over to the side watching everyone have a good time, before Tyson and Joint Boy come over to get him to drink shots with them. Before the episode ends, in comes the beautiful blonde that we're definitely going to be seeing a lot more of now. Turns out she's the niece that the old man was referring to. And almost instantly, Wayne is captivated by her beauty. However, before Wayne can go to her, Jean-Lance returns with his friends and another fight breaks out, but this time between the English and the French. Wayne attempts to make his way to the old man's niece, but before he's able to make it to her, Jean-Claude comes in and puts his jacket over her shoulders. We are finally on the track to meeting Mary Fred, and man, do things get interesting from here. This is a pretty good season finale. It now sets us up with two relationships come season 6. The first being Wayne and Mary Fred, and the second being Derry and Anik. Out of the two, I'm more worried about Daryl though. Up to this point, I never thought of him being the romantic type. It's clear that he's attracted to Anik, but when it comes to him being relationship ready, I don't see him being everything that Anik wants or needs. Hell, we were just seeing her getting ready to marry someone. Though this will give us the opportunity to see a more romantic side of Derry and how he handles being in a relationship. Oh, and we also didn't get to see Stuart's transformation. So that'll definitely be something that we look forward to next season. And speaking of next season, I better get started on it so you don't have to wait another 2 months like you did this time. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.